Hello, very beautiful community. The war on Russian soil is intensifying, and we've said that was going to happen really from the first year of the full-scale invasion. Ukraine's doing it for three reasons: military purposes, propaganda purposes at home, and three, political destabilization purposes on the Russian space. But that's not how we're going to think about it. We're going to think about what the escalation of the war on Russian soil and some unprecedented exposure in Moscow to drone attacks means for the depoliticized Russian population. We're going to watch an unbelievable video, and then we're going to react to it immaturely and maturely. So let's rock and roll.
За что вы нас бомбите? Мне сегодня как раз таки недалеко от моего района был прилет. За что? За что вы нам так? Что мы вам плохого сделали? Хватит уже, остановитесь. Ужас просто. Сегодняшнее утро, 4 часа, было самое ужасное. Хватит, остановитесь, люди. Прекращайте.
Okay. Let's translate this for those who haven't read the subtitles.
За что вы нас бомбите?
What are you bombing us for? Well, we had a drone impact not far from where I'm based. Stop it. It's enough. It's horror. 4 o'clock this morning was horror. Enough. Stop. Stop bombing us. Alright, so you and I are gonna make a deal. And the deal is that this video is not AI. And that this video is not a skit, because this guy's got the Kremlin behind him. So that's going to be my assumption, beautiful community, that this is not a skit. And that this is real. And we're going to do something very difficult. We're going to split your brain into two. The first part of your brain, I want to laugh at this guy because, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? It's absolutely preposterous. To the point that I am sitting here and I can't even fully believe that this is real, but I think it's real. So, laugh, enjoy. It's a tragicomic laughter, but enjoy. But also, and this is the second part of your brain, don't laugh. Because this is depoliticization. And most of you watching are a bit like this guy. Just less. But a bit like this guy. So he's not unique in the sense of some kind of special Russian pathology. There is an element of Russian specialness there, but it's not the central story. The central story is a global phenomenon of depoliticization, of which you're also victims and perpetrators. So he is an extreme version of what's wrong with you. And that's the not funny part, but also, again, the funny part once you begin to look at your own ludicrous depoliticization. So let's start on him first, and then we bring ourselves to how he is like us. Just an extreme version. How is that even possible? I mean, does the dude consume any information? Does the dude know that Russia has been engaged in a conflict with Ukraine, in which it is the aggressor since 2014? No, he doesn't, probably. But he does know that Russia has been engaged in a conflict, whether as an aggressor or not. He also does know that this conflict, whether that was intended or not, became full-scale in 2022. So he does know that. He does know that's been going on for several years. So why on earth is he surprised? Like, how do you even square that? Because I'm about to talk about how bad we are, but as bad as we are, when we get blowback, for instance, from the fact that we've been bombing the Middle East on and off for a century, we get it. We might not like it, we might not agree with what our governments have done in the past or in the present, but we might agree with it even, but even those of us who agree with it, get it. You're not going to find many people in the West who supported foolish wars in the Middle East who completely don't get when blowback comes. They get it. But this guy doesn't get it at all. How is that even possible? So what are the thoughts that are unavailable to this guy? One thought that's unavailable to him is, I did it. No matter how tenuous, that thought ought to be a bit available to you. I did it. I might be a small drop in the ocean, I might be at several removes from it, but I did it. That thought's not available, and the thought, my state did it, is also not available to him. How is it not available to him? It's not available to him through the my bit not being available, not through the state bit not being available. In other words, he does get that this is related to stuff that the stuff behind him has been up to. The stuff behind him is the Kremlin, and the Kremlin has been up to some stuff. And that stuff has caused the stuff above his head to happen. He does get that causation. What he doesn't get is the my bit. And this comes from several sources, and I've decided this is going to be the next main channel video. We're going to talk about not so much what we've done in the past, why Russians haven't protested is, for instance, one of the more popular videos on the main channel. I'm going to do a video about this sort of unbelievable Russian passivity and its sources. So I don't want to legislate on that now systematically. That'll be the next video on the main channel. Sometimes crudely that is called, and in a way that's not coherent because it's not a matter of genes, but it's called Russia's sort of serfdom or slavery gene. Now, so without systematizing it, let's just place it a bit at least for ourselves. He does get that that thing behind him has done stuff that's caused the stuff in the sky to come. But I think he doesn't get how that stuff is him or anything to do with him. So the guy is living on the territory, and then there are some folks who have power on that territory. He doesn't control them. He interacts and he pays taxes, he does other things, but he doesn't control them, and they've done some things. What's that got to do with him? He's not in power there, they are. Some others could have been in power instead, and they might not have done these things, or they might have done other things. But they're not. These guys are in power. So what can he do about that? So why am I suffering consequences for things that I don't control? Like, how is that even rational? He thinks. We're reconstructing him. Because I don't run that place. You might say, okay. Let's say that we accept significant limitations in your capacity to do anything about it for two reasons. You're just one person, and two, you live in an authoritarian regime. Okay. But aren't you like a bit associated with it? Forget can or can't do something about it. Think about just association. Isn't that your state? Or is that thing behind you as alien to you as the government of Yemen or Nigeria? Well, it's not as alien to me as that, but I didn't decide to get born under its rule. I wasn't born under its rule, but since I got born, it came to power, but I didn't. I didn't choose it. Did I vote? Yeah, maybe I voted for it, maybe I voted against it, but I'm not sure how much my vote matters, especially in this political system, so it's just there. So you can only have stuff flying over my head in a way that's going to affect me if I myself have done something to you. But I didn't. What did I do to you? I went to work. Let's say I work for some kind of small company. That's neither here nor there as far as anything political is concerned, and I just pay taxes. What's your beef with me? I don't get it. So they did something, but what have we got to do with it? Right? And who did they do something to? Yeah, okay, they didn't just do something to your version of these guys, the guys who run your place, Ukraine. They also did something to you, okay, but what have I got to do with it? I can't vote them out. I can't do anything about them being there. And moreover, why am I in this special way associated with these guys and you're not at all? I know you've got your guys over there, but all that matters is just as the arbitrariness of territory. I mean, your guys happen to run you, these guys happen to run me. It could have been the other way around. So, sort of, why sacralize that distinction so much? You know? I mean, these guys could have also attacked a place that these guys themselves run. I don't know what would have happened then. But why are we sacralizing these distinctions so much? I mean, yes, there are international treaties, and yes, there are various ways in which sovereign states are recognized. Sure, I know that word. I know the word sovereignty. I get it. But, I mean, why would we fetishize it into this sort of magical way of thinking about this, which means that we sort of implicate people who live on a particular territory with what the people who are in power in that territory do? I don't know why they did what they did. I don't know. I don't know whether it's good or bad. I can't form that judgment. I hope it's good because they're the guys who run my territory, but I don't know. And do you even know what your guys are doing now? You seem to have lots of corruption scandals. I mean, do you even know what they're doing? How do we know all of that? Right? So I can't judge this. So two things have just happened in all of my blah, blah, blah that I've done over the past few minutes. We started with this basic dissociation from one's government, which is just the feeling that they are in power on a space where I also live, and I've got some kind of arrangement with them, and I do that for them or with them, and they do this for me or with me. Okay, but that's about it. But we then made two further jumps, which I did in this kind of conversational way. Now, what are these jumps? One jump is this borderlessness jump, right? We talked about this a lot with the invasion of Kursk, whereby it's part of a certain kind of imperial psychology that you don't just think about the appropriation of other lands, but you also think about the pliancy of your borders backwards too. Well, our borders have contracted, or at least have been compromised, because there was a temporary Ukrainian occupation of a bit of our territory. But so what? Borders shift. So there's this kind of lack of commitment to the significance of separateness. And there is a connection between that and private life, because this is about boundaries. So it's not entirely possible to separate boundarylessness at a national level. I don't know where the borders of my state begin and end, and boundarylessness in personal life. Not every Russian is unboundary, but there is a propensity for unboundariness there. Where does my stuff end, your stuff begin? You're not in the mood to have this conversation, but what the hell, I'll have it anyway. That's unboundariness. You've got certain boundaries about your sort of physical integrity, which means I shouldn't transgress on that. It also means I shouldn't apply physical force to you, but what the hell, sometimes I do. What the hell, let's get over it. So this kind of territorial flux that I've brought into it, and I've brought another thing into it, which is a combination of two thoughts. How does anyone know anything? And thinking it makes it so. So, why are you punishing me for something these guys who are in charge of my territory have done for reasons no one can really know except them? And anyway, maybe nothing is ever truly knowable about anything in politics, because it might be that the way you think about it just defines what the truth about it is. So that's a real mess of self-preservation based evasiveness, consumerism, imperial and private unboundariness, postmodernism and post-structuralism's impact is there too. Don't underestimate how much Western liberatory ideologies that try to transcend the truth are now playing a part in the Kremlin messaging, and are also expressed in all cultures, Russian culture too. So that's some of the weirdness of what's going on in that guy's head. You know, it's like the guy's been prodding somebody for 4 years, then he's got pushed back and he doesn't get what the causal connection is there. But also, don't laugh too much. Because, look at us. We relate to politics very often through consumerism. We consume politics like it's soap opera. And those of us who do that a lot, and most of you who do it a bit, he is your brother. A lot of us can't keep two thoughts in mind at the same time. I mean, just in the field in which we're engaged, to take an example, the Kremlin is evil, A, and B, the Kremlin might be a stable power that's going to persist for a while. Right? This is the Kremlin's going to collapse next Tuesday, which boosts views 5 to 10 times on YouTube. And people struggle to keep these two things in mind. This is a really bad thing, and this is a really bad thing that's not collapsing anytime soon, as far as we can see. Right? So we struggle to keep two things in mind at the same time. He is our brother. We engage with, advancing the rights of disadvantaged people via obsession over identity, which is radically depoliticizing, and anyway at a national level increases the chances of authoritarian populists winning. We are his sister. We're his brother. We are having a crisis of comprehension. We relate to the signals and symbols in the content we consume, that rather than understanding it. We see two words together and we know that we like to react to these two words together with that other word. Right? We see that, boom. There's a kind of an algorithmic deformation of the mind. Happens to all of us a bit, and to some of us a lot. We are his sisters and brothers. To the hundreds of you who have written into me and said, Vlad, you can't actually know that Western democracy is experiencing a historical period of decline because 2 years from now voters could just change their mind about this, right? What's wrong with that? It's missing all the explanation about the social forces undermining Western democracy, which we partly control and partly don't. So the hundreds of people who have written into me saying that you are his sisters and brothers. The technocrats, the centrist technocrats who think that they can deal with the crisis of trust they're facing by making small adjustments based on technical expertise without deeply engaging with the sentiments of their populations on the doorstep. You guys too, even if you are in power, you're still depoliticized, and this guy is your brother. So, unique a bit, but mostly not. Extreme, yes, definitely. He's way, way worse than virtually anybody watching this video. He could be far worse than even the worst person at depoliticization watching this video. So, understand that most of what this absurdity amounts to is produced by global forces and not anything specially Russian. Then there are the bits that are specially Russian. But even the specially Russian bits are specially Russian versions that take to an extremity in a special way things that are in different manifestations on a lesser power present everywhere. Right? So don't be like him is not just a lesson for us that's about staying away from something that, you know, is a misfortune of political relationship that has befallen somebody else. Don't be like him is a warning to us about what we're already doing wrong. I'm about to get a phone call from the special police department that's there to arrest people who spend too much time telling off their audience. So just as that call is coming through, I'm going to say, yeah, you're guilty. I'm going to say goodbye and lots of love, beautiful community.